money implied. The pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children.
Greetings from Castle Goring, from Mickey, Aurora, and from me. Oh, well, we have a lot of ground to cover, and I have to tell you, we're going to start with the fact that I've got to thank everybody for this Humanitarian of the Year award, which I so richly deserve. And so do I. And nobody listened to that ghastly man from Chad. What's his name again? He's the environment minister, and his name is Hassan Bakhit Jammu, and he is, you're not to listen to him. It's a racist plot. It's a racist plot against my beautiful mixed race wife and myself, because I'm mixed race as well, and he's not mixed race, and therefore he's just jealous of us because he's not mixed race. And also, I just have to thank everybody for acknowledging my greatness. And I mean, what a joke. Harry and Meghan will be receiving the Humanitarians of the Year award for the Mental Health Day Gala organised by Project Healthy Minds. A healthy mind wakes up and sees who it's going to destroy. And also how to get column inches. Yes. It's going to be this evening at the 12,000 square foot, very fashionable Tribeca venue, Spring Studios. In my day, which is many years ago, when I was a student in New York, it was filled with Bowery bums. Nowadays, it's filled with Montecito bums. Well, I'm going to actually, because this is really worth making a point, that I'm going to repeat what Hassan Bakhit Jammu said. And I'm also going to point out that Monsieur Jammu is 32 years old. He is a graduate of Aix-Marseille University in France, as well as a graduate of a university in Morocco, where he did a postgraduate degree. And he has issued a 4-page statement condemning African parks. Well, you might remember that Harry was for many years the president of Africa Parks. And when in, I think it was 2022, the word got out that the Baka people in the Congo were being, and since this is YouTube, I have to be very careful how I put this, they were being subjected to atrocities, many of which rhyme with tape, and they were having limbs cut off, and they were being deprived from going into their natural habitats by African parks. What was Harry's response? Not to try to get to the bottom of it, and not to try to assist the Baka people. Oh, no. He stepped down and joined the board. So splendid. Well, Monsieur Jammu has, I'm going to quote, he's said that African parks and its members, and that includes the former head as well as the present board member, Harry, he's accused them of arrogance, serious financial misconduct, an indelicate and disrespectful attitude towards the state of Chad, financial misconduct, disrespect, illegally collecting tourist revenues, using tax sheltering bank accounts on the Isle of Man, and transferring assets from Chad in flagrant violation of Chad's banking laws, failing to tackle the resurgence of poaching, and a total lack of acceptable investment at the reserves managed by said African parks. He announced the severance of a relationship with African parks with immediate effect. 6 years Harry was the president. 6 years. As soon as the trouble started, this great, I'm such a great humanitarian that I tell you, the best thing you can ever do as a humanitarian is wash your hands. Pontius Pilate taught us well. Wash your hands. At least somebody washes, because it's said that there are pongs emanating from certain quarters that travel with a certain resident of Montecito that very poofy. This, of course, is one occasion upon which Harry and Meghan are not really going to be able to play the race card, because no matter how assiduously they try to play it, the fact of the matter is Monsieur Jamou is African. He's undoubtedly black, even though he's not that dark-skinned a black, but he is black, so maybe he's jealous, the same way that, do you remember Harry's friend announcing that Sophie Chandoka was jealous of Meghan? Because he didn't say she was jealous of Meghan because Meghan was fairer than her. No, he said that she was jealous of Meghan because she had to share the stage with the crasher Meghan. How does that one work? How's that going to apply to this? Doubtless they will find some way of spinning this so that they are victims, not the Bakar people, not the citizens of Chad, not all the people who have been ripped off royally by African parks. No, Meg's baby at age 10 years left time. And now we get to the nitty-gritty. And if you thought that was juicy, wait until what I have in store for you. The bongo drums have been beating, and the bongo drums are just giving me the most delicious tune of reality, and I'm going to share it with you. Sadly, I had to make notes, so I'm going to have to refer to them. I couldn't remember it all, and so I had to write it down. Very disconcerting, but there we go. So bear with me if I read from time to time. In fact, I'm going to pretty much read because I prefer not to rely on my memory. And why rely on it when I have it all here written down? The bongo bongo drums have told me that William has an absolute loathing of Meghan that has been reinforced recently by what the antics that took place in Paris. According to the bongo bongo drums, and I will say that what I have done is to make sure that it's not obvious to whom I have been speaking, I have changed the wording around slightly so it's more my words, so providing a little bit of cover, so to speak. But there is no doubt, evidently, in Prince William's mind, and in fact everybody else, that Meghan and Harry have embarked upon a deliberate campaign. All of what has gone on in Paris, including the tasteless scenes by the Seine, no seatbelt on when her feet were on the seat. Shades of we're coming to a death bridge, well, a death underpass of the bridge. And I could have, of course, taken a photograph and done a clip of the Arc de Triomphe. I could have done it of the Champs-Élysées. I could have done it of the Louvre. I could have photographed myself passing the Tour Eiffel. And notice how I pronounced it, because I speak French fluently. I don't say the Eiffel Tower, I say the Tour Eiffel. Am I not clever and brilliant? But I could have done all of that, but I didn't. Well, to get serious now, according to what I have been told, this is a deliberate campaign mounted by Meghan and Harry to cause as much offence and distress and get as many column inches as possible. This is a direct and flagrant provocation, and it has been received as such. They triggered the situation whereby they would get, or she would get, I should say she, but people think Harry's in on this. Not everybody does, but people who know Harry well, they think he's in on it as well, which would be extremely ominous if indeed he is. But so let's stick to Meghan. She triggered the situation whereby they could both accuse the British press of victimizing her and him. But Meghan and Harry are not victims. They're deflecting. They've used the Paris trip, and they've used everything recently to deflect. But they're not actual victims. Catherine and Charles are genuine victims. They are genuine cancer victims. The Wales family is genuinely caught up in a real struggle, a health struggle. Meghan and Harry, according to what I'm hearing, are acknowledged by the concerned parties to be hale and hearty physically. Oh, yes, everybody has no doubt that they have serious psychological issues and that they are both mentally ill, just going off their behavior, but they have been turning all of this into not only a platform for making money, but for hopefully, in their mind's eye, evidently, causing a maximum distress to William, which they have succeeded in doing. I'm told that William believes that Meghan is a genuine monster and a psychological terrorist, that she is a sadist who either enjoys inflicting emotional torture or then is indifferent to the pain she inflicts while torturing those she casts in the role of adversary. It was pointed out to me that I should remember, and I should remind you, how Jason Knopf observed that Meghan likes to choose victims. She gets people in her sights, and she then sets out to destroy them. And she succeeded to a large extent while she was at the palace. I'm told that I can say that that is the mark of a true sadist. Certain people aren't sure, but others are absolutely convinced that Harry is right behind her on all of this. Sort of ego and alter ego, those are my words, incidentally. But it conveys the concept. So you could also say Bonnie and Clyde. They are definitely, according to some people, in this together. And we'll get to that in a moment, because William has made certain observations, and I'm not going to say how recently, because I'm not giving the game away, so to speak. But pretty much everything I've been told, evidently, is a very accurate representation of how William truly feels. They think she is flagrant and totally out of control. I've said before that Meghan was always regarded as uncontrollable at the palace and by the palace. But evidently, she has ratcheted things up to such a degree that out of control then meant one thing. Out of control now means something entirely different, because she has committed the unpardonable sin of cosplaying William's and Harry's mother's last night on earth. No one doubts that she didn't calculatedly and deliberately do what she did in Paris, knowing it would have the most horrendous effect, not only upon William, because remember, it's his mother who died. And I have to say that, well, let me keep myself out of it and my observations. Let's just stick to what I've been told. She evidently had, that they have no doubt, knew exactly the effect all of this would have, not only upon William, but upon the worldwide media. And a lot of people now think that she set out to create this whole big melee, so to speak, and that she and Harry knew that they could then spin around and say, you see, the mean British press is after me. When, of course, it's not the mean British press. It's people from all over the world. But evidently, Meghan's Parisian trip has absolutely rattled, is the word I was told, William. His reaction has been one of cold fury and absolute disbelief that any human being could have done what she did, while also, I'm quoting, recognizing that this is typical of the depths to which she is prepared to sink to score points and make money. Can you imagine how defiled William feels, knowing that his sister-in-law is using the death of his mother cynically, opportunistically, flagrantly, the word flagrant was used more than once, so that she would create maximum impact. Partly, some people say, to deflect away from William's interview with Eugene Levy. But I don't think that's really accurate. I think that was a happy occurrence, a happy coincidence, insofar as Megsy Baby is concerned. I think that Megsy Baby did this knowing that whether William was doing anything or not, irrespective of who was doing anything in the royal family, what she set about to do was going to knock everybody off the front pages and have her on them. This was, I agree with them, that this was a calculated campaign, and it has succeeded brilliantly. So she's scoring points, she's scoring more than points, but evidently she, as far as they're concerned, she's scoring points. And what are the points? To inflict as much psychological damage and exert as much emotional pressure as she can upon Prince William, while, of course, getting herself on the front pages of the papers. Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. Oh, sorry, I'm now Victoria Beckham. Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. And incidentally, I've referred to this before, but I'm going to pop this in now. Because if you noticed, a few weeks or months ago, I don't remember how long ago it was now, I pointed out that Meghan had had a facelift. Did you notice how tight her face was against her cadaver? Did you notice that? Not 1 ounce of flesh to hold up the skin, pure bone. The nose, raffiné. Oh, sorry. I have almost forgotten my English because I'm not so fluent in French. Raffiné is refined. The nose is refined. The top lip has been pumped up. Everything is so tight, it's unbelievable. The earlobes are not as they used to be. Dead giveaway of a facelift. But the absolute dead giveaway is the cadaverous nature. When the lights shone on Meghan, it was skin stretched over a bone. Not a good look. So anyway, to return, the points are to inflict as much psychological damage and exert as much emotional pressure as she can upon William, while getting herself in the papers. To her, evidently, and this is their thinking, Meghan is compulsively competitive. This is a competition, and her aim is to become the most written about human being on earth. Now, I don't know why they're so late coming to this banquet, because I've been saying for years, from I wrote my first Meghan and Harry, the real storybook, that I was told that Meghan's ambition was to become the most famous woman on earth. Well, you can't achieve that if you're not written about. So, anyway, they're late to that game. And she evidently is absolutely determined to win this race. I am told that William thinks she is, I'm quoting, a ruthless opportunist who's competing with him and the rest of the royal family to knock them off the front pages of the newspapers as much as she can, and that she doesn't shy away from using what I was told are, and I'm quoting, psychological terror tactics while doing so. She is, and I'm quoting, a psychological terrorist and an emotional sadist. She's, I'm quoting again, much worse than people think. And her behavior, quoting again, her behavior over the years has shown the family that she's much worse than they ever initially thought she could possibly be. They never had a high opinion of her, but even they have been surprised by the depths to which she will sink and the total inhumane disregard this great humanitarian has. But then again, of course, they're not really human. They're royal. She's the only human being on earth because she is Narcissus herself. Evidently, they truly regret that they didn't step in the early days of the relationship to prevent it from developing. That's evidently a bitter regret. With hindsight, they can see that the only chance any of them might have had, this is a direct quote, was at the very outset when they could have dished the dirt on her checkered past to Harry. There's some doubt that hot-headed, crazy Harry would have actually believed any of it. But the thinking is that even though he might have initially rebelled against accepting it, that ultimately he would have accepted it, because no matter all the talent that Meghan deployed, notice how she's plumped up those lips, all the better to make sure that Stan gets to sing that wonderful song about blowing in the wind. Well, to be not too naughty. Naughty me. But, of course, this is all hindsight. But even with hindsight, they're not sure it actually would have worked. But they now bitterly regret not having at least intervened in the early days, because this has gone so much further than they could ever have imagined it would go. I mean, I get it. I mean, I know from my own personal experience with my mother that when you get destructive, narcissistic, sociopathic, Machiavellian crazes trying to destroy you, they will stop at nothing to implement their desires. There's evidently a very interesting rider on all of this, which is that everyone in royal circles knows that Harry was always looking for a way out long before he met Meghan. He's never had the discipline or the motivation for the hard daily graft that being a royal, a public servant, demands. He's always been about mooching around, drugged out of his mind, then springing into activity for a very limited length of time, playing the cheeky chappy, hail fellow well-met character that went down so well with the press and the public. I've slightly altered that so that I put in some of my words to make sure that nobody's going to be able to know who came up with this. Sorry. One of the reasons why no one in the royal family wants Harry back is that they accept that he's taken advantage of Meghan's divisive presence to achieve his heart's desire work-wise, which always was showing up once every few weeks to get applause, playing the part, which he used to do so well, and still does well, even if he's getting a bit long in the tooth for the cheeky chappy bit, then lapsing back into the indolence and pointlessness that has always, big emphasis there, been his true state of being. They don't believe a word of the nonsense about Invictus and Centabarley and charity being Harry's life's work. And that's where his heart is. As far as they're concerned, this is really very wicked, I love it. His heart has always been between his legs and around his mouth, ingesting stuff. I think they forgot his nostrils. I'm sure he has two little hearts up his nostrils, but didn't occur to me at the time. Sorry. Should have mentioned it. Then I'd have got clarification. As it is, we'll just have to go with my observation. As for Meghan, she is regarded as, quote unquote, a genuine demon. And the family has recognized the depths of her depravity with the passage of time. She's gross and unconscionable. They now realize she knows exactly what she's doing and does it without regard for their feelings, for their pain, or for the damage she causes them, either personally or on an institutional level. Indeed, William evidently feels that not only does she not care, but she enjoys the damage that she's inflicting. Can you believe it? This is the woman that is this evening going to be getting an award for Humanitarian of the Year. She goes to Paris. She brilliantly, and I have to say, I take my hat off to her. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. The woman has a positive genius for getting column inches. That degree of acknowledgement you do not get unless you seek it and set out to achieve it. This is a point I made in Meghan and Harry, the real story. I have seen it with Elizabeth Taylor. I have seen it with, well, Diana. Both Elizabeth Taylor and Diana worked, as does Meghan, to keep right up there in terms of recognition on as daily a basis as possible. The only other public figure that I can think of who achieved that level of recognition was Jackie Kennedy. And she also, although she didn't actually ring up the press, Jackie knew exactly what she was doing to be an impact specialist. She knew exactly what she was doing and she did it. But she expected that it would be containable, and to an extent it was, because she didn't ring up the press on a daily basis the way Diana and Elizabeth Taylor did or got their people to. Audrey Hepburn made the point. If you are in the public eye and you want to lead a private life, the first day everybody comes and doorsteps you. The second day, if you more or less stick to the same script, so to speak, fewer people come and doorstep you. And finally, the third day, half of them have disappeared. Now, the fifth day, when you're doing the same thing, most of them have disappeared. That's the way to actually function in the public eye. And not only maintain your integrity, but also to maintain a degree of, shall we say, privacy, even within the public arena. I mean, Jackie told me something once when I was 25, and having really terrible publicity. And she said to me, the way to deal with it is when you are in public, either look up or look down. Make sure nobody catches your eye. And if you want to avoid anybody catching your eye, that is the technique. Meghan, she sees a camera. Charles Manson comes to life again. And I don't know what you think, but I think William deserves some compassion, because Meghan will, if she can succeed in doing so, cause so much disruption in his life that he will be tempted to abdicate renounce his position in the line of succession. Of course, this is never going to happen. So what's the purpose of it? Maybe my informants, so to speak, are absolutely right. It's raw sadism. It's really a psycho deciding, I'm gonna sink my teeth into you because you haven't played ball with me the way I wanted you to. And I am going to punish you for it. Because let's remember, Meghan is and always has been very punitive. As for Harry, my understanding is that whether Harry has been a fully paid up member of the gang or not, as far as his brother is concerned, all that he has done and allowed Meghan to do and continues to allow Meghan to do is unforgivable and will never be forgiven. So let me know what you think of all of this. And on that note, I'll say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in so I will know what you would like me to be addressing with you. And also, if you have enjoyed this, would you please like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell? Evidently, it makes a big difference. Thank you so much. Take good care and Godspeed.